You know what, guys? I've completely forgotten how to do a platinum that intro. Heyo, welcome back. It is time for a very overdue platinum that. Season 3's back, baby. It's a new look studio, same old symmetry, which means there will be some flubbing words and a hell of a lot of trophies. I'm excited. Let's jump in. Today we've got a very long time supporter of the community. His account in GravityRushRavin, also known as Dragon Dance. Dragon Dance started his account 9 years ago with Grand Theft Autos. Welcome to Los Santos, which is a very fitting trophy, I guess, here. Dragon, in the time that I've known him, has been a fantastic supporter of the community, but also is my go-to for anything racing platinum related, so expect a lot of races and some solid ultra rare platinums. But let's jump in, shall we? So before we actually jump into the list, one thing I do want to point out with Gravity's account here, or Dragon's account, I'm sorry, I don't know what to actually call you, man, because I called you Dragon for years, but I'll try and say Gravity because you've changed your name to Gravity Rush. But the PSMP trophy cabinet, this is probably my favorite use of it ever. I will pop up the cabinet here because it is worth showing on this account. He's done a fantastic job. I think Banana Sausage used a bunch of bananas in theirs, but Gravity Rush has used the game Gravity Rush, and it looks fantastic. It'll be about here somewhere. Alrighty, and so let's get the ball rolling with Absolute Drift, which is a big open world, sort of open space drifting game where you drift around objects and stuff to accumulate a lot of points. Abzu is next. Abzu is a walking sim of sorts where you swim through a bunch of underwater environments and explore them. It's a very beautiful game, I will say. Adventure Capitalist, this is a game where you run a business and make a lot of money, I believe. Alex Kidd, this is a platformer. I believe it is kind of akin to Mario and stuff. I mean, I've not played a Mario game since the Super Mario Bros. On the original Wii, but I have heard good things about Alex Kidd. It's one that I've had installed on my own console for a very long time, so do let me know if this one is actually worth giving a crack. We then follow this with the Archives games, the Arcade Archives games with Double Dragon, Dig Dug, Galaga, and of course Pac-Man. Pac-Man being the first game on the list to not be at 100%. We then have Art of Rally, which is an indie racing game where you drive rally cars, obviously. Gravity, mate, we need to talk. What is this? What is this, man? It's only one Assassin's Creed. Where's the rest? Not only is there only one Assassin's Creed, but it's also, sadly, tragically, you might say, the first unobtainable trophy or platinum on this list. Sadly, due to the fact that the multiplayer has closed down and you only have the one trophy. That makes me sad. I might actually have to go on another hiatus just to recover from the lack of Assassin's Creed here, mate. We then have a very difficult platinum trophy here in Assetto Corsa, which is a very tricky time-based game. I think this might have actually been the platinum that only became obtainable again very recently. I think this one might have been unobtainable for a very long time. We then have Astro's Playroom, which of course it comes with everyone's PS5s. It's phenomenal. It actually just released DLC very recently, wherein I believe you have to explore the levels to find characters and solve cryptic clues to unlock them. I think as of the recording of this video too, only one of the characters has actually been found yet, which is kind of cool. We might even do a cheeky live stream of this game probably today when this is released. I think I'll release this Monday morning Australia time, so I'm hoping to actually get a stream done that day, a return to streaming as well. It's fun times with Symmetry right now. Do tune in, do let me know if you're there. We then have, and I'm going to butcher this name because I've never listened to his music, is it Avicii Invector, which obviously he was a musician, and this is a game I think akin to like Guitar Hero and stuff where you hit buttons when a color pops up on them. We then have Baja Edge of Control, which I think this left Plus recently, but I think this is an off-road, like, monster truck racing game. Do correct me if I'm wrong. Followed by one of the weaker Telltale games, in my opinion, in Batman the Telltale series. We then have some fantastic Battlefield completions here with the 100% for Battlefield 1, which, of course, the DLC trophies for this one are very difficult to do with the weapon grinds, but also just the operations trophies, which require, I believe it is 16 people off the top of my head. If you're in Australia, that is very difficult to do. We then have Battlefield 3. You dip your toes into Battlefield 3. I can respect it. Followed by the 100% in Battlefield 4. Actually, I think as of the recording of this video, didn't Battlefield 3 servers just get announced that they're shutting down? That might be one you might want to jump in on, possibly, just to get your Battlefields back up to 100%, mate. And of course, the last Battlefield here is Bad Company 2, which, in my opinion, had one of the best first-person shooter campaigns in a game. It was fantastic. It was good fun. We then have Beyond Two Souls, which is a David Cage game, akin to things like Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Boring, wherein you have to go through the game, make a bunch of decisions, and see all the endings. Bloons TD5, I've never heard of, I don't think. We then back this up with Blur, which I think you've done the multiplayer. I think the multiplayer became available to redo very recently, maybe in the last year. I think people worked out how to do it after it being thought to be unobtainable for about 10 years. Blur is a very fun game, though. It's a very fast-paced racing game that I had this one on the PS3. I actually found this in the roof of a rental that I was renting years and years ago now. We then have Borderlands here with Borderlands 2 twice and the pre-sequel. I can see you probably just dipped your toes into Borderlands 2, probably earned the story based on the 22 trophies you earned on the PS4 version, and then with the pre-sequel you probably played long enough to hear one of the god-awful Australian accents, and then you uninstalled the game. That's certainly what I did. We then have Breakout Recharge, which I think is a game I've never seen on Platinum. Do correct me wrong if I have. I have no idea what it is, though. Followed by, in fact, tell me what it is, so that if I do say it again, it's up here. We then have Bridge Constructor here. You build bridges, you probably break bridges, and if you're like me, you learn that you're really bad at building bridges. We then have Burnout Paradise, which is actually a game that Dragon helped me earn quite a few of the trophies in way back in the day. I think like 2 years ago now, we did a lot of the DLC point stuff together, and it was a good time. I really actually enjoyed doing this one with him. This game is phenomenal, of course. This is obviously a very old game now. I think this came out in about 2008, but that soundtrack, ooh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. We then have the Call of Duties here with Black Ops 2, sadly only one trophy, sadly very unobtainable, followed by Black Ops 3, again, big grind if you do commit to it, but it is an impressive one that would boost your completion rate, I believe, and I'm going off my memory here, I'll have to verify, but I believe your completion rate is 71.25% right now, which is, of course, a very impressive one, but I reckon Black Ops 3 would boost it up quite a bit. We then have the Modern Warfare games here, with Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, Modern Warfare 3, it's a shame they've never made another one of those, and then Modern Warfare 1 Remastered, followed by the most underrated Call of Duty of them all in World War II. The zombies in this game is super slept on, it is great, it's just a shame the maps really suck. Darkest Shore can eat it. We then have Capcom Arcade Stadium, which I believe these are super rare completions, as you can see by the 1.27% and the 0.51% completions between the two of them, but I think you can save scum quite a bit of this. I think you can save on every move or something, which does definitely assist, but still a super impressive 100%, there's no platinum here, 100% to have. Carmageddon, this left Plus recently, this is a demolition derby game, a super impressive ultra rare there with 3.15%, followed by Cars 3, Life is Indeed a Highway, followed by Cars X Drift Racing Online, which I've never heard of, but a 0.87% would look very, very juicy on the list. Castle Crashers, followed by Cell Damage, which of course was a very enjoyable PS2 game back in the day. I actually played quite a bit of this as a kid. From memory, it's a game where it's kind of like a Mario Kart clone, I guess, where you'd race around tracks. There's weapons and power-ups and stuff that you can use to destroy other cards, and then there's also quite a few battle modes, which is typically what I used to play from memory. Followed by Claire, followed by Coaster, Concrete Genie, of course, fantastic game where you play as a boy in sort of an industrialized fishing town, and you draw monsters on walls and stuff that come to life to help you solve puzzles and do collectibles. The DLC in this, I will say, very annoying in that the base game doesn't require VR in any way, shape or form. However, the DLC does require VR, which is very frustrating. We then have Counter-Strike, followed by some Crash Bandicoot. No platinums between the three of these, but they do have quite a few very tough time trials. We then have Cuties Hacked. I've officially been hacked. I am concerned. Somebody help me. Danger Zone, which is a very fast-paced sort of racing game, followed by Dangerous Driving, which is just any time I'm in front of the wheel, to be honest. Followed by Days Gone, of course, open world zombie game. A fun one. I actually really like this game. I will say the story probably dragged on a little bit too much for me, but I definitely remember enjoying this one. This is one I do want to do at some point again when I am mentally prepared to deal with the god-awful DLC challenge trophies. We then have Daytona, which of course, fantastic remaster, followed by Deer Simulator, followed by one trophy in Destiny, and then Destruction All-Stars, which of course was I think this was a Sony exclusive. It might have even been a launch game for the PS5, do correct me if I'm wrong there, where it's kind of like, it's not Rocket League, but it's kind of like a battle arena cars game. It came, it went, it has a 1.53% completion rate, which of course is super, super impressive. Congratulations, especially in a week and a day. One trophy in Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I know that this game has some really annoying trophies where you've got to beat the game without being seen by anyone and things like that. I think there is quite a few sort of multiple playthroughs and stuff, and I think this one might also be the one that has a multiplayer component as well, but it would be a cool one to see you clean up if you wanted to, Gravity. We then have Dirt, the Dirt series. In fact, we have quite a few of the Dirt series here with 4's 100%, 5 twice. 5's one that I actually wouldn't mind trying at some point, but I do know from hanging out with Gravity Rush in the Discord server, I do know this is not his favourite game in the series. I think, do correct me if I'm wrong, mate, but I think from memory you liked the rally games more. In saying that, you only have a couple of trophies in the first one, but I do know the first one is a very tricky platinum. You do, however, have the platinum in the second one, which is a very impressive 1.7%. Disc Jam, I think from memory, Disc Jam might have been one of the first games to get a platinum, to get trophy support from memory. I know Uncharted 1 obviously was, but I think this might have been up there too, unless I'm getting my games mistaken, which is very likely. Followed by Discovery, which was a Minecraft clone and not a particularly good one at that. Doom 64 in an hour and 53 minutes. Use those cheat menus. I got my eye on you, mate. I got my eye. I know what you did. Because, and don't tell the rest of them, I actually did the exact same thing. We then have Drive Club with 15 trophies. This game, of course, is now unattainable due to a lot of the car licensing not now being renewed, and them not being able to then support those. So the game went down, kind of a sad thing. And Driver San Francisco rounds out our Ds with it's a fantastic game. This one, I know it's not everyone's favorite driver game. I think the first game or the third game possibly are. I know the third game was the one where you could kind of get out of your car Grand Theft Auto style and get new cars. This one, you're kind of like a ghost coma dude from memory. You're a police officer who can kind of teleport between vehicles, which, I mean, if I do that every day, that's how I get to work. But it was good. I remember this game actually came with my PlayStation Slim console. as a bundle deal with, I think, Infamous from memory. But it was a good game. So following Driver, we have Endling Extinction Forever. This is a game where you play as a fox that is looking for one of her cubs, and you eat a lot of food. It's a fantastic game. I highly recommend this one. It was free on Plus, I believe, 2 years ago. Highly recommend this one. We then have Epic Mickey, The Power of Two, followed by Everybody's Putter Golf with Toro, which, that's a name. We then have Evolve, 2 trophies. Of course, this is a game that is now very unattainable because the server's shut. However, I think you can get most of the trophies still. In fact, you can get all but 2 of them because there are bot modes and things like that. We then have the original version of Fall Guys. Fall Guys here. Of obviously the browser for the original one, or the launcher, was then changed, so this one's now unobtainable completely because you can't load it up at all. But the newer versions here as well, which you got as a cheeky auto pop. We then have Fallout Shelter you dabble in, followed by Family Guy Back to the Multiverse, which I believe this game was pretty fun back in the day. I think I got this, but it never really clicked with me the same way stuff like Simpsons Hit and Run did. We then have some Far Cry here. I'm flubbing. I'm falling apart. I got to F without a mistake, and now the rails are gone. English. We now have Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, which of course is the spin-off to Far Cry 3, and also just a fantastic one in general. It's got Michael Biehn, which, I mean, I love Michael Biehn, so that's an immediate plus for me. Now I want to replay this. Should I get the trophies in Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon for a video? Do let me know if you'd like to see that, because I kind of want to replay this now. We then have Far Cry 3 Classic Edition, of course, classic. This is the game that put Far Cry on the map, I would say. 2 was popular, but I think 3 really cemented it. Obviously, all the vast stuff definitely helped. Incredible villain. Far Cry 4, you did this a couple months ago. I reckon this is because the multiplayer trophies finally are now obtainable again. These were down for about a year, I want to say, before Ubisoft decided to fix them. I do need to get round to these myself. Maybe a Far Cry 4 video as well. Maybe a Far Cry 3 one too. Stuff it. Let's go for the trilogy. We then have Firewatch here. Fantastic walking sim where you watch for fires and also possibly murder mysteries and also possibly chat up people in other towers with a walkie-talkie. It's a great one. Fruit Ninja's next, followed by Gabuchi, which was a free game on PS Plus where you eat a lot of squares. Garfield Kart is obviously like a clone of Mario Kart or a Sonic Team Racing with Garfield characters. Gear Club Unlimited 2, I've never heard of, but you smash that out in a week. Followed by quite a lot of goats in Goat Simulator. Not only could you do Flappy Bird once, you could do it twice. You've got my respect, mate. We then have Golf with Your Friends, which is an amazing golf game. I absolutely adore this one with friends, and also because I have no friends, just by myself. I like this game by myself, and now I'm sad again. Would anyone like to play golf with me? Please. We then have Gone Home here, which is another brilliant one where you come home, believe it or not, who would have figured, to find the house empty and you're trying to work out where your family is. This one has a very interesting trophy. There's a speedrun trophy for beating the game in, I believe it is a minute. It is totally doable, but certainly a little bit challenging. You've got to really know exactly where you're going, and strafing right to get the key out of the cupboard from memory is a little bit tricky. We then have the Gran Turismos here with 6's platinum, but not 100%, because I think there are some pretty tough time trials there from memory, followed by 7's 100% twice, and the platinum for Sport, which of course is now unobtainable and is missing 7 trophies. We then have the Grand Theft Autos here with 3's platinum for the remaster, but not the original. The original is very, very tough to play these days. It is aged like bald mud in that it's pretty much non-existent now. We then have Grand Theft Auto 4, which is my personal favorite of the lot, followed by 5 3 times, which is super, super impressive. Looking at it here, they must have they must have changed the creator trophies, I guess, because I remember in February, I think it was, they were going to shut down that game mode, and but they're not. It's not marked as unobtainable the way the PS3 one is, because obviously the PS3 one is 100% unobtainable. The servers have closed, but it looks like they must have edited those trophies. Someone update me on what the go is there, because obviously the 100% is still possible, even though that mode that had trophies tied to it is no longer available. We then have San Andreas twice, the original and the remake, followed by the exact same thing with Vice City. In fact, you did both versions of the remake quality game. I do want to try them at some point though, because they look like I left crayons out in the sun for 7 hours. That's what those graphics look like. But you've done Vice City 3 times, which makes me think this is probably your favorite of the bunch, I would say. Followed by Gravel, which is an off-road racing game. Followed by Gravity Rush's Go Figure favorite series here with Gravity Rush Remastered, and the second game. He's been asking me to play these games for literal years at this point, so do let me know if you guys would like some videos on the Gravity Rush series, because it does look interesting to me. It's not my normal sort of type of game. I think I'm not even entirely sure what happens in these games, but it does look interesting. It is one that I would be interested in dipping my toes into. We then have Grid 1 and 2, followed by Legends. 2, of course, having a very rare platinum with a 3.31% completion. We then have Hawken, which you smashed out in 3 hours. I think I'm in the top 10 for Hawken, aren't I? Hold on, let's have a look. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see it based on the way that I've cropped the browser source in OBS. But for my own bragging rights, I want to see if I'm still in the list. Oh, you guys can just see the latest achiever. Oh, I'm 12th now. I'm 12th. You guys can't see it, which is very embarrassing. So I'm just going to tell you I'm the fastest achiever. No, I'm actually 12th now. I got 50 minutes and 16 seconds. It's essentially you can do it that quick by just saving up enough money to buy everything, and to do that, you just go and log in every day, and you get a bunch of coins, and then you buy everything and you smash out the couple multiplayer trophies really quick. But it was good fun, especially for a game that has a sub 1% completion rate. And I think there are a couple sub 1% ultra rares in there too that are really, really not actually ultra rares. We then have HIQ Ace, which is a very quick and easy sliding puzzle game. I think you can even auto sort the first game here. I'm not entirely sure about that. Horizon Zero Dawn, you dabbled in it. It's a shame they never made a sequel to this game. Obviously, open world robot dinosaurs. I think they just announced a Lego game of this. We now have Hot Wheels Unleashed, which is a game based on the popular toys that I'm sure many of us played with as a kid. I certainly did. I had a stupid amount of Hot Wheels stuff, to be honest. I'm sure it probably is still stashed away somewhere as well, at my parents' place. But I couldn't get into Hot Wheels Unleashed. I found the drifting in this game very janky, and I found the racing very dull. Also, it's just very, 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 very grindy. I do know a second one has since come out, so that one might be an improvement, but you smashed it out in just under a year by the look of it. Hot Shot Racing is followed by Hue, which was an interesting sort of side-scrolling game where various different colors give you access to various different things, followed by Hyper Void and Inertia Drift. Inertia Drift having a juicy 4.41% platinum trophy. Infamous Second Son is next. You've done 1 trophy. It's an okay game. It's decent. It's better than Second Son in my opinion. I know that's First Light. I know that's a sort of unpopular opinion, but it's an okay game. That's one I'd recommend cleaning up if you wanted to boost your completion rate, mate. Injustice Gods Among Us, a juicy 0.21% platinum that is very, very grindy. I believe primarily because of the Catwoman trophy, but that might also be the second game. This is essentially DC characters beating the ever-living snot out of one another. Interaction isn't explicit. I have no idea what this is, but he smashed it out in 30 minutes, followed by Jak 3, Jak and Daxter, Jak 2 using the debug menu, and Jak X Combat Racing, which of course is the weird sort of spin-off that was kind of like a Almost like a Crash tag team racing kind of clone from memory, minus the tag team part. So just kind of a combat racer, I guess. Not even kind of close to the game I referenced it to now that I think about it. We then have Jet Moto here, which is a re-release of, I believe, a PS1 game from back in the day. Just Cause 3, you dipped your toes in. I wasn't ever a fan of that one. That's also one I couldn't really get into myself. We've got Kanjazoku. I've never heard of this one either. You smash this out in 2 hours and 20 minutes. Killzone Shadowfall, 12 trophies. I assume these are probably the base game trophies. And then you moved on. The multiplayer is now sadly very, very shut down. Kinetica is next, which you smashed out in a day for a juicy 2.61% completion rate. Lego 2K Drive. I did this one recently myself. The 6,000 miles trophy is misery. It's about 20-25 hours of AFKing, where essentially you just let your car drive around in circles, or I think in most people's grinding case, it'll be a boat because that is easier. But the actual game itself was pretty fun. It's an open world racer where you got to do a lot of like challenges and stuff in between. But I actually really liked this one. If it didn't have the 6,000 miles trophy, because that really does suck, this would probably get the Simi seal of approval. We then have Lethal VR, so I assume that means that you do have a VR headset. In fact, now that I think about it, you had the 100% in Concrete Genie, which I talked about previously, so you definitely have a VR headset. This is a good one here, 28% completion rate. I'm sure our good friend Prometheus from the Discord server do join. Link will be below. I dare you, I double dare you. We'll be a fan of this one. We then have some Life is Strange here with the first game, Before the Storm, which is the prequel to the first game, and then True Colors, which is my personal favorite. It's one I'm probably going to redo at some point because I do really enjoy this one. You don't have Life is Strange 2. Life is Strange 2 is pretty poo. We then have Little Big Planet 3, which of course is unobtainable due to hackers doing the servers, and based on the way that was just lagging out on me. I'm probably being hacked too based on that. Someone send help. We then have Lost Wing, which I've not heard of. Actually, I think this is kind of a racer the same way like Star Wars Pod Racer is, where you're kind of behind your ship, and it's a very quick one, I think, from memory. We then have Mad Max here, of course, tragically unobtainable because the challenges and stuff were tied to servers which are now down. Rest in peace, Sweet Prince. Maneater is next. This is a game that I wasn't a big fan of, to be perfectly honest with you. You're a baby shark, do-do-do-do-do, and you eat a lot, do-do-do-do-do, and I'm gonna stop now, do-do-do-do-do. We then have Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which was surprisingly actually really good. I thought the combat wasn't particularly great. I'm not a big superhero guy. I never have been. But I did really like this one. I do like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Rare Marvel movies I actually do like. But this game was really, really good. We then have Mass Effect 3, you dipped your toes in. Metal Gear Solid 5, you dipped a bit more of your toes in there. You probably got 2 toes into this one as opposed to 1 toe on the last one. Platinum has hit a point where we're now discussing toes as well. This is a new low for the channel. Midnight Club Los Angeles is now sadly unobtainable. This was made by Rockstar, I believe, and I've heard very good things about this one. I think this was in between making a Grand Theft Auto and a ping pong game from memory, or a table tennis game or something. But this was a good one. It was fast-paced racer on the PS3, so it was good. Minecraft is here. You've smashed out most of the base game list, and also the second list here, which, touch wood, touching all the wood right now, hasn't given us DLC trophies for like a year, which is very, very positive. I like that. That gets a Simi seal of approval. We then have Monster Energy Supercross. This game was, of course, free on PS Plus in like 2016, I think, from memory. It's a Supercross game that's sponsored by Monster. The quality's about what you expect there. Monster Hunter World, 1 trophy. I can understand that. I love Monster Hunter World myself, but it is a very, very it's a tough beast to get into. You've got to learn a lot. It's very grindy. The crowns exist. But it is a fantastic game. That's another one I'd recommend if you have the couple of 100 hours that you've got to sink into for the GC Platinum there. Moss is a VR game. He plays a little mouse, I believe. I've heard very good things. This is one of those games that I would absolutely play if I had VR. MotoGP's next with 14 and 14 Compact. You then also have MX versus AVT Legends. Funny enough, this is a Platinum I earned at the start of the year myself. It's so I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with this series. MX vs. AVT Unleashed is probably my favorite racing game or supercross game or whatever you want to call it ever. The soundtrack is my favorite soundtrack in a game ever. It is phenomenal. This game was kind of lifeless to me. It works, it's functional, but that's sort of all of the positives I can really give it. And the fact that the positives I can give your game is that it runs is probably not a good sign. This series sort of needs a bit of creativity injected back into it, I think. We then have My Name is Mayo, some juicy Mayo goodness with the first game twice, the second game, and the third game. I actually have never played 2 or 3. I should probably do a video where I do all 3, and call it the hardest game series ever that gave me arthritis or something. I don't know, possibly. Need for Speed coming up. Oh my goodness. Need for Speed's coming up, guys. I can see further down on the list than you guys. I've cropped it. We got some speeds here. He's got a Need for Speed. He's Fast and Furious. I'm running out of comments here. We got the 2015 reboot here. Base game done. DLC not done because the DLC is very, very tricky. Followed by Heat, which is a game I really, really liked. It does make me want to play Unbound, which you've got the Platinum for here. But I really didn't like the drifting. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that I hated the drifting. And there's a lot of different challenges in the game that made that difficult. Hot Pursuit. I think this is the one. Is it this one or is it Payback? One of these is one where you play as the racers and as the police. And I think it's pretty good. It's one of these two, or it's both. It's probably both, on my luck. But you smashed out the 100% in both of these here. We've then got Unbound, which of course you smashed out in a week. I think I remember talking to you when you were doing this one. We then have Hot Pursuit, the original one. We then have Most Wanted, which is not the same as 2005's Need for Speed Most Wanted, which again, an absolutely incredible game. So I can't really comment on the Vita version here because it is a separate game despite having the exact same name, because playing games is confusing. We then have Rivals twice, followed by Shift and The Run. The Run is a funny one for me, actually. You can see it's unobtainable because the servers have closed. But it was a weirdly, cinematic campaign-driven one. I remember you were a street racer trying to race across America for a big sum of money, but you're in trouble with the mob or something, and so they're sending people after you, and so you would have these very stylistic races where you'd be racing along like a snowy mountainside with an avalanche, and then all of a sudden you'd be pulled into this random event where you had to outrun the cops or the mafia or something like that. It was really weird. I really liked this one though. I know it wasn't everyone's favorite, but I actually really enjoyed it. If they remastered this one, I'd have it. There'd probably even be a video of it. Did I tell you that I'm bringing content back? Have I plugged myself enough in this video yet? I've probably done it too much, you might even say. Who knows? I'm rambling. Let's move on. Near Autonoma, you dipped your toes in. You moved then on to off-road racing, Buggy X, ATV X, Moto X, Subscribe to Symmetry X. We then have Akami HD, of course, a classic, followed by Onrush, which I think you despised from memory. I remember talking about this quite a bit. The server shut down on it. It was another racing multiplayer one where it was kind of like a battle race. You have all these power-ups and stuff. But I heard people either really loved that game or really disliked that game. there was no in between. Alrighty, and next up is, of course, Peggle 2. About 50% on that trophy list. We then have Pinball Heroes twice, both times in around a minute. This is, of course, a remaster of the PS1 game that had a bunch of different, like, pinball tables that were from PS1 games at the time, such as Fat Princess. We then have Pirate Flight, which is smashed out in 21 hours, followed by, and I'm going to slow down before I say the name, Placid Plastic Duck Simulator. You all know I would have flubbed that name if I tried to read that quickly. This is a game where essentially you just watch plastic ducks do stuff. I might even play this on stream one day for the laugh. And name every duck after everyone that shows up. Or I'll just name them all after me, like the giant narcissist that I actually am. We then have Project Cars, followed by Project Cars 2 and Project Cars 3. I actually didn't know there was a third one of these. I did know about the first two, of course. The first two being both very rare ultra rares with a 1.67% and a 3.32% respectively. Pursuit Force is next. I think this was a weird sort of PS4 game, followed by Rally Cross. We then get quite a few Ratchet and Clanks here, which I like to see, with the 2016 reboot, which was actually pretty good, followed by the very original game on the Vita that you've done a little bit on. A Crack in Time was okay from memory. I don't remember it being anything particularly special. And then, of course, Rift Apart is a very enjoyable one. It's probably one of my favorites in the series, even, I would say. We then have Rayman Legends, which I think... No, maybe. Is Rayman Legends the one where you've got to get a bunch of, like, gold medals on maps or something, and it takes actual legit months to do that? Is that one, or is it the other one? Because I know the one that does have that is also on the Vita from memory. One trophy in Red Dead, that definitely hurts the soul. Followed by Redout, which is a fast-paced racing game, kind of like Wipeout from memory. Real Fishing, you got into a little bit, followed by Retro Pixel Races, which is a nice little indie game there. Rhyme, which is another indie game. It's a puzzle sort of exploration one that I adore. I love Rhyme. I need to replay this one myself soon. Road Bustle's an easy peasy with a 98% trophy. You smash this out in 4 minutes, followed by and this is really impressive. Because there is quite a lot of trophies and quite a lot of stuff you've got to do for it. But the Rocket League 100%, obviously a couple of the trophies are now unobtainable because, or one of them is, because they decided to get rid of trading, and I think one of the trophies was actually directly tied to trading, so that kind of sucks. Like, just change the trophy, do what Rockstar might have done in GTA 5. Or what's another game that's changed it? Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor changed the Vendetta trophy so that wasn't unobtainable. Just do that. Just give it a little tweak. Keep it up, because that's one that I wouldn't have minded dabbling in at some point if I ever got to it in the absolute sea of unobtainable trophies, of backlog games, rather, that I have. We then have Saints Row Get Out of Hell, which you got into a little bit. It's not a particularly good one. I can understand skipping that one. Followed by Saints Row the Third's 100%, which is a good one. I didn't actually know there was a PS5 version of this. I might have to do this one myself at some point. I knew of the PS4 one, but this must be relatively new. It must have been in the last like year or so, I'd assume. We then have Sebastian Loeb Rally Evo. I'm sure I butchered that name. Have I told you that I don't do racing stuff very often? We then have the Sega Mega Drive collection, which is a nice little one to have here, followed by Online Arcade, followed by Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash. That's a name. Slides and Easy Peasy. In fact, it's one of the sort of like original Instapops, I guess you would call them, shovelware, I guess, where you just move some tiles around to make a picture, and I think Slide was the first one where it's like hit a button and it'll just do it for you. You just do that a bunch of times, you get the platinum. We get some Sonic here with Sonic Forces and Sonic the Fighters. Was Sonic the Fighters the episodic one that got like 4 episodes? Is that one, or is it a different one? Do let me know so that I know for the next episode, because I won't look it up myself. I'm lazy. We then have South Park: The Stick of Truth. You got about halfway into, a lot of missable trophies, but a fantastic game. Followed by Split Second, which I believe is a racing game with a juicy 4.69% ultra rare platinum. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom is a fantastic game that glitched on me. I don't have this platinum because the golden spatulas didn't register for me, and then the trophy for giving them all to Patrick didn't pop, and now I'm back to being sad. Probably both. Let's be real, both. I'm nervous. I haven't uploaded a video in a while. This is daunting. I haven't looked at a camera in a while. It's new to me again. I'm like a baby learning to walk again. Baby sim. But we then have Stray. Cat game. Everyone loves cats. I certainly do. I now have 2 of them. Maybe 3. Subnautica's here. This is another diving one where you can base build and stuff. It's a fantastic game. Unless you're terrified of the depths or giant squids. We then have Super Street, which is a racing game that I have only ever heard very bad things about, followed by Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Power Battle Cars, also known as Rocket League 1. This was the game the developers made before Rocket League. Tabletop Racing, another racing game. Tabletop Racing World Tour. If I told you that it was from the same people that did Tabletop Racing, would you believe me? I would hope so. Tales from the Borderlands, it's another what on earth are the developers called? Telltale game. It's another Telltale one. It's another one that I haven't heard particularly good things about. This is not one that I've really played much myself. I've dabbled in it, but I don't remember much about it. Team Sonic Racing. It's a racing game. It's an ultra rare, 2.5%. You'll love to see it. Followed by the Crew games here with the Crew and the Crew 2. I think didn't a third one get released this year? I would be curious, Dragon or Gravity. Are you planning on possibly doing that one at some point this year? We then have The Godfather 2, which I remember being a very actually surprisingly fun game from memory on the PS3. I think it is a GTA clone, possibly. The Order 1886, another game I actually really enjoy. This is one of those ones, I was looking into it again recently, that I really wish that we'd had a sequel to, because it ended on a cliffhanger. And I know there wasn't a massive amount of gameplay, but it was just such a good game and such a cool concept. 1886 England, werewolves and a vampire, and also a vampire's penis for some reason. Good game. Do recommend. Do want another one. Please, developers, make this just specifically for me. Guys, I need to become a big influencer so that I can pull the strings and get us an Order 1887. It'll be great. We'll love it. 10 out of 10. The Pedestrian in 35 minutes. You use that debug menu. I'm on to you. I'm on to you, Gravity. This is a puzzle game where you kind of bounce between signs. Even if you don't use the debug menu, it takes about 4 hours from memory. It's a good game though, I recommend. The Playroom, this is a game that sort of utilizes like the PlayStation camera and stuff like that. The Stanley Parable twice here, another fantastic game where you're in a sort of office environment and a bunch of increasingly weird stuff happens the more you interact with stuff around you in your office cubicle or room. Titanfall 2, you dipped your toe in. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Soldier, and Wildlands you didn't really get into. Wildlands is another game that I don't have the platinum to because it glitched out on me, and it is such a big game and such a repetitive game that is one I don't think I will ever return to myself. You actually got Rainbow Six Extractions platinum. That is super impressive to me. That's kind of like a weird side mode. I think it actually started as like a free side mode in Rainbow Six Siege that then eventually became a standalone, where you go into contaminant zones, you have to destroy contaminant sites and then get out. I think you have to do this quite a few times with every single character. which is not particularly fun and very grindy, hence the 7% Platinum Trophy. You then have the 100% in Rainbow Six Siege and the Auto Pop on the PS5 version. This is a game that I adore myself, or certainly did back in the day. I'd probably be hot trash if I returned to it now, but fond memories of Siege. We then have the Division, which you played a little bit, probably wasn't for you, and then you moved on to a very impressive platinum here. 0.7% platinum rate, Trackmania Turbo. Very fast, very chaotic, some hard time trials you have to get, and you smash it out. It took you 4 years, or nearly 5, but I'm proud, man. That's a good one. It was also 2 days before my birthday, so I like to think this was an early birthday present to me. Again, narcissistic. We then have Twisted Metal Black. This is not unobtainable. I know one of the Twisted Metals is. I think this one might actually be a port of the PS2 one from back in the day. Very fun kind of battle mode racing game. Followed by the Uncharted's here, which we've got Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3. You've done the base game lists. It looks like you haven't done any of the speedruns or brutal difficulty on these. Uncharted 4, you got a little bit into, but Uncharted 1 you did do brutal mode on, so that's pretty impressive, man. I like to see that there. Uno we've got here. In fact, we've got 2 different versions of Uno. Untitled Goose Game. Honk, that's all I've got to say. Honk, great game. Do play it. Unturned, awful game. It's leaving Plus pretty much in like a week or 2. Essentially, it's a I guess a voxel multiplayer game where the trophies are grindy. You got to kill 1,000 people. You've got to earn reputation, either good or bad. You earn these via killing people in different ways. Very grindy. I think you can boost most of it with 2 controllers. I think overall it probably takes like maybe 15-20 hours to do the trophies, but I certainly know from you talking in the Discord that it wasn't a particularly fun experience for you, but it is a very impressive 1.13% platinum trophy. VR Pigeons, don't know what it is, do want to know what it is. Can I play as a pigeon? VR Rock, again another VR game where you rock. We Were Here is here. This is a game series I just can't get into. I like the idea of We Were Here. I started We Were Here Forever, I believe it is, with a very good friend of mine. Dibble, if you made it this far, we do need to finish that at some point. Please force me to finish that. It's okay. The control scheme's awful. I think from memory, sprinters circle, squares interact, and triangle is please get me out of this. Welcome Park, this was sort of the equivalent of, I guess, Astro's Playroom for the Vita. Kind of just utilizes all of the stuff that the Vita can do. Unfortunately, maybe it's not unobtainable. I thought it was. It might be the PS3 versions or equivalent is the unobtainable one. What Remains of Edith Finch. I love this game. It's a walking sim game where you sort of work out the tragedy and curse on your family. It's fantastic. This is another one that I would highly recommend. For a very long time, it was just a 100%. Now it actually does have a platinum trophy, which is very nice. We then have Wheel of Fortune. It's based on the TV show. It's nothing more to really say, to be honest with you. Wild Tracks Racing, it's a easy, nice, quick off-road racer, followed by a little bit of Wolfenstein: The New Order, and then let's get into WRC. I believe that stands for World Rally Championship. Do correct me if I'm wrong. These are some games that I've actually thought of possibly doing myself at some point. So Gravity Rush, if you're still here, buddy, do let me know which of these are actually worth playing. Just the easy ones. I'm not actually very good at hard games, thank you. Don't tell everyone else though, okay? We then have, so we've got WRC 10, we've got WRC 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a little bit of 8. In fact, what am I saying? I was about to say you didn't get very far into it. You didn't get very far into it because it's a game you're currently working on. It's probably a game that you'll plat very soon. 5.49% is not going to stop you. You're going to smash this one out soon. I know it, mate. WRC 9 and WRC Generations, which I believe is the newest of the series. We then got Wrecked, which was a PS3 Demolition Derby game from memory, followed by one of my favorite races ever, which is Wrecked Fest. I love Wrecked Fest. The thing it does with the controllers, where all your haptic feedback and stuff. The more your car gets damaged, the harder and less responsive the car is. It's brilliant. I adore it. Also, absolute banging soundtrack. It's also a game where you can verse 20 buses while driving a chair, a lounge, a couch even. And our last 3 games for this account, our last 3 Gravity Rush Raven games are Xenon Racer, Xenon Valkyrie, I don't know what either of those are, and to round out things I've never heard of in my life, Zippy the Circle Level 1 and Level 2 with a stunning 98.64% completion rate, done in 12.5 minutes. But this has been episode 1 of season 3. Gravity Rush Raven, terrific account, mate. It has been an honour to finally get to this one. With a bit of luck, I'll get an episode done next week as well. The plan moving forward, I might make a standalone sort of where have I been, what am I going to do video, is to get a platinum that video done every week to 2 weeks where possible. Get some live streams in. I do work a 9 to 5 and commute to that 3 days a week. I work from home the other 2 days. So editing content is a little bit sort of tricky. Balancing that sort of work-life ratio is going to be a bit tricky, hence my absence for a very long time. But I do want to make some stuff. So Platinats will sort of be every couple of weeks. There'll probably be one. I'll certainly keep people updated this time and not go cold turkey on everyone. Shorts will be making a return. Platinum videos will be, and also streams. So streams, what I'm hoping to do is restream from Twitch to also YouTube, so do both simultaneously. There will hopefully be a video dropping today, or a stream dropping the same day that this is uploaded. So do check me out over there. To anyone that's stuck around this far or is still watching the content after a couple of years, who's been a part of this journey, thank you so much. It does mean an absolute lot to me. And on to the next video. I miss you. Bye-bye.